You're watching in the studio here at Davis Media Access. I'm Autumn Labbe-Renault. So, what does it take to keep a business running for 50 years? That's a question I'm going to ask today of my good friends Dean and Janice Labadie, who together co-own Strelitzia Flower Company. They have kept this business going through recession, through pandemic. They have a lot of stories to tell, and I'm really glad we get to have them here today. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
So, Dean, I remember having a conversation with you years ago, a little bit about your origin story, and I believe it started with a flower cart. Is that right? Can you tell us how you started this business 50 years ago?
So I came up to Davis to get a master's in horticulture after a degree at Berkeley in landscape architecture. And my vision was to go into landscape architecture and landscape contracting. A buddy that I worked with in Berkeley had a flower cart right at the campus entrance in Berkeley. And he goes, "Hey, man, sell flowers. Everybody's buying flowers. It's flower child and all that." And So he said, "Come down to San Francisco and I'll show you how to do it." And I drove down in a Volkswagen and went, I got number 10 cans, a couple boards, and set up in front of Kathy's Corner over at 3rd May. And it did pretty good for what I was doing back that time, and then that's where we first started.
Yeah. I remember as a student at UC Davis many years ago buying flowers from a cart downtown, and it always felt like such a special thing to treat myself or to treat someone else, and the cart was right there near the East Street Plaza, and it was great. Did you ever think back in those days, I'm going to start a business and 50 years later I'm going to be doing the same thing? I mean, what is that like?
Yikes. 50 years. I don't know. I guess I just didn't know any better than to get out of it. Maybe, I don't know. It's always been a challenge, and every day is a challenge, and it's still a challenge. So it keeps me going.
Yeah. So Janice, I want to share something here with our viewers. You were actually the first person I ever interviewed in the studio after I came on staff at what was called Davis Community Television. And I interviewed you about Seroptimist International of Davis, which is a local service club that works to improve the life of women and children. It's something that's very, very near and dear to your heart and to mine too. I was a member for many years.
Yes.
But I think it's kind of sweet. I realized that recently. You were my first in-studio interview, and here we are a couple of decades later, I want to say. So at what point?
Oh, wow. It was a first, and you couldn't have been more gracious.
Oh, well, thank you. You that interview actually, you got me interested in seroptimism, and you are the reason that I became involved. And I think that's probably a true story for a lot of women who have been involved with the organization over the years. So where were you when Dean was starting this flower cart? At what point did you come into the picture? And at what point did this become a business that both of you did together?
I had just finished up my associate arts degree at American River College in environmental horticulture. And Dean had a parcel out by the airport that needed someone to help with some greenhouses and some outdoor bulb crops. And I just thought it was a great idea. I liked being outside, liked the greenhouse operation itself, and it just stuck. And then next thing you know, I'm folded into the business and doing everything from, the floor shop stuff to the actual growing, to the cutting, to the bunching, to the marketing. So it's just, it starts off as one thing and it ends up being a lot more.
Yeah, I can imagine. At some point you moved from a cart to a location that was downtown at the corner of G and 3rd for many years. And then you moved across town to your present location And it'd be great to know what year that was, and kind of what was involved with just picking up a business wholesale and moving it across town. And you've been on Second Street since when?
2007.
Actually, let me back it up just a little bit. I had the flower cart down at Third and A, and then I opened up in there's a dress shop in the University Mall, and I asked if I could sell flowers from the corner of her shop. And
Lucettes.
Maybe I can't remember exactly the name of the dress shop, but from there we moved into various kiosks, and then over to they built a building for us at the mall there, and then so we moved. Must have been 20 something years ago, and we moved downtown into the Anderson building, which was the original Ace Hardware, I guess, back then. And then in 2006, I realized that we didn't need, we were a destination more than we were needing the location. So I started moving into more feasible kind of buildings. And then 2008, we moved into the present location here. And that was, and then 3 months later, the whatever, what was it called back? The housing market crashed.
The Great Recession.
Our sales took
the Great Recession. Mm-hmm.
Our sales dropped by a third almost overnight before anything else. And it was a struggle, and I told everybody that, hey, we're the canary in the mine. You're down the line here pretty quick. And so we were early there, and I just went to all my people and said, hey, I'm not going to quit. I'll make it right. Just work with me, and we'll stay in business and make it right. And it took us quite a while to really recover from all that. I kind of call it the COVID bump. It wasn't until that came along that we really started, getting some, our sales went up and things stabilized a lot for us. And, where they tried to close us down in March of 2020 and said, we're ag essential, and we think we need to stay open for people. And so we were able to get no contact delivery for any retail business in Yolo County. It was a good plus, and it helped them stay open. And then we went to our people that were freaked out and worried about staying open, and helped them stay open. And so we had some of our best holidays after that. It was great, and we started giving stuff away in the summer when it got slow. That's always been our motto: when things get tough, give it away. We did a lot of first responders, a lot of, sent out a lot of arrangements, and we kept our growers going because they were backing up and nobody was buying flowers, and we kept all our orders going and used them to give away. And at the COVID testing sites, we would give flowers away. And this year's it paid off a lot for us, with weddings coming back, and a lot of other things are just happening. And, with the no contact deliveries and very cautious, I have 30 employees. It was very tough to make sure that everybody was safe and that we didn't have any problems. And we've been lucky, and we did it. And we haven't had any issues because we're also out and about. We never stopped. We were out with all our growers going into hotels and down to the growers where a lot of the people had COVID, and we were just cautious and very careful what we did down in there. And it's coming back a little bit more right now, but we had to get out there. We had to get out to get the flowers, and the kind of orders that we were getting were really heartfelt. And, we couldn't be there, so we're sending flowers.
It's like we turned into like Western Union. We were like the only way for people to communicate with each other because they weren't even able to see each other. And then you've got all these students that are away from home, family members. We were just the communicator. I think people really appreciated that we handheld every order to let them know that, yes, what you're trying to convey will be conveyed. And we were communicators, and it really was greatly appreciated. And we certainly appreciated the business and everybody being willing to do the no contact delivery. We'll drop the flowers at the front door and then text them and call them and tell them it's out front. But just the extra effort to try to keep people connected has paid off.
People do say it with flowers. That's true. You've just touched on a whole lot of things there, and I want to follow up on a couple of them.
Yeah.
I do remember the interview that Heidi Callison of downtown NorCal did with you, Dean, very early in the pandemic. It was probably March 2020. And that interview and the way you spoke up and the way the Board of Supervisors responded really led to agricultural related businesses in Yolo County being deemed essential and being allowed to stay open. So that's one thing. And I think that's very typical of how I know that you both have approached doing business all these years. And that's that one, you've never advocated just for yourself and your business and your employees. You've taken this kind of broad view about what community means and the role of business in it. And I really am aware of how that has extended into your charitable giving. You talked about some of that, your giveaways, your philanthropy. Dean, I know you're an active Rotarian. Janice, we talked about Seroptimist International a little bit. And so, right there, folks, I think that's probably one of the keys to success in business is really having that community mindset. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to just acknowledge and appreciate you both for having
Thanks.
that mindset as you go about your work. Another thing I find really interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Janice.
Oh, well, another thing is over all the years, having served on multiple boards within the community too, has made sure we're out there trying to help, be it the Chamber of Commerce or, Yolo County SPCA. I did 5 years with them. That was so enlightening. The Davis Arts Center, iHouse, all those things are part of our world. And if we only did what we do in the shop, then that's limited. So I recommend anybody in a business that's lucky enough to be in a small, tight community like this to get out there and serve in other capacities because it comes back to you, but it grows you. It makes you more whole. And I think that's one of the things we talked about with that first interview is being part of the Davis Arts Center and it makes humanity more humane to do those things. And we've gotten acknowledgments from that with the Citizen of the Year perpetual trophy down at City Hall. I'm so proud of that. But because we donate and we show up and we lend out stuff and then I'll throw in, business woman of the year for Yolo County Women's History Month. I was shocked, but they gave it to me and I went and I told them my story and it was funny and we got it through. And again, what I told them in the room was you've got to be involved no matter what capacity. There's a need. We all know there's a need. So just sign on and do it and write it out. And it makes for a lot more connection.
Well, and as they say, the proof is in the pudding because here you folks are 50 years later. Let's talk a little bit about what it's like behind the scenes. Earlier, we looked at some footage showing, people putting together floral arrangements, got some nice shots of inside your store front. But Janice, you occasionally will post something on Facebook about your drive out to the coast to meet with farmers, to buy flowers. And I just think that's the coolest thing because you've made it a practice to network with the farmers one-on-one instead of going the route of the San Francisco flower market. So how has that shaped your business all these years?
It really was a whole nother new link that brought us to a higher level of success. Because at one point I thought, I'll just go get a job. But no, this is not a job. This is a lifestyle. And Dean said, no, you don't get to go get a job. We're going to start driving to the coast. We're going to go to the greenhouses and we're going to make that work. And Jesus, I did 15, 20 years of that. And I did it on my own for a long time. But then over time, it's turned out to be more fun and it's a lot of work. So I'll drive. I'm driving Miss Daisy here, and he's set up his laptop and runs the office from the passenger seat. So it's a combined effort, and I just love to drive. So to end up with a driving job this glorious is kind of a dream come true. And then we spend all that extra time together. We get to go to the hotel and eat out, a couple cocktails, and spend, just enough time together for the sake of the business that we have a blast. We really have a lot of fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Sounds like a good life. So 50 years, we're coming up on a big celebration, October 24th. I want to hear more about that. And I also want to hear maybe biggest lessons learned during this time.
Oh, my biggest lessons.
Oh, my.
I don't know. You take it every day.
Let's talk about the event first. That's easier. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about
okay. So I actually don't know. I'm just supposed to show up. My staff said, "Stay out of it. We got this covered." So I guess they've hired a catering, and there's a chance our bluegrass band is going to come back together and play there too. We're kind of working on that, and but my staff is more excited about it. They're just. And it goes way back. And I said, of all the times and all the pictures and everything that went on, back when I first started, I was, kind of a hippie guy, long hair, big beard. And when I started the flower cart over on 3rd there, not long after, that was right about the time my daughter Thea was born, 1972. And I remember her being on my back at the flower and, just little nubbins there.
Nubbins.
And the picture actually went in the Enterprise. I don't know if they'll ever find it again, but that was kind of what it was. And that was the start of, when I started building these flower carts, and that's a whole nother story, like the airplanes when they first didn't fly. I finally came across a good cart, but all that was going on while I was still going to school and getting my master's degree at the same time. It was interesting time back then.
Well, Thea's going to be at the party. My grandkids are going to be at the party. We're going to have a lot of pop-ups. We've got Mamadou's going to come bring his baskets that he imports from Kenya. You're going to be there, I hope, with your beautiful jewelry. And like last time, the SPCA is going to come and they're going to have a spot for doing outreach. So there's going to be some interesting pop-ups, going to be free food, free flowers, raffles, everything. We're just giving stuff away. And I think there's going to be a coffee kiosk. So we can have these exotic coffees. And it's just a party. We're taking over the whole back alleyway here, and we'll have shade structures and stuff to drink and things for kids to do. It's just going to be a big fair, and I think it's going to be pretty well attended. The last time we pulled this off, it was, so I'm expecting it to be similar. But I just thank you for agreeing to come, because Autumn, your stuff is really nice.
I think I was there for you had a party for your 40th anniversary. And you used to do something with the providing pumpkins for the kids, and kids could come. Yeah. I've actually been to quite a number of your parties and open houses over the years. So it's October 20th. It's October 24th, and what time will it be?
Oh, I like I said, I'm not involved, but I think it's 10 to 2. Probably a good timing for it, but we'll put out some posts on it. But my staff is the one that's putting all the stuff together on it. They said, stay out of the way. So they're totally excited.
What else are you going to do?
It's a treat to not have to.
Yeah. It's interesting because there aren't too many businesses that survive 50 years, let alone same owners, and all that. And that's kind of unique.
It
I guess I
is.
got another
Well,
50.
here's hoping. So, let's remind people of where Strelitzia Flower Company is located, the address on 2nd Street, and then let's pop up your website too, in case people want to find more information or get, the exact hours of the event on the 24th, things like that. So there we go, strelitziaflowers.com. And on, what's the address on 2nd Street?
4614 2nd Street, but most people know it by across from Target. It's easy in there. We were here before Target.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it's
Target ought to say Strelitzia Flower Company is across the street. That's where you find us. That's
let's start making that a thing. Okay. I want to thank you both. Again, just from my own experience, I have turned to Strelitzia for everything from prom corsages to celebration of life arrangements. We talked about the role that a florist and a floral company kind of plays in the community life, and why it became essential, or how people were during the pandemic were sending more flowers as a way to say, I'm thinking of you. So there is that saying it with flowers. And I think it's easy to understand how in an economically depressed time, people might make choices that, that's not their first priority. But again, during a pandemic, when isolation is very real, when we're not able to actually have some of these things like proms and celebrations of life, flowers have kind of provided this continuum and a way of bringing people together. And that's a gift you've shared with the community for 50 years. So thank you to you and your staff for doing what you do. All right. So any final thoughts?
I have one little story.
All right.
I have one little story. This is kind of, we've been involved in a lot. We do cradle to grave, we call it, and we're getting into 2nd and 3rd generation things now. But Janice and I got invited back to the opening of the Tolerance Museum in Birmingham, Alabama. And we were standing on the corner there across from 16th Street Baptist Church. And there's a couple on the corner there, and we started talking, and oh yeah, we're from California. Oh, we're California too. I said, yeah, I run a flower cart in Davis. She goes, oh, I was working that cart when my husband came up, and my husband to be came up and bought flowers for his girlfriend, and then we got married, and they met at the flower cart. I thought that was pretty. Not only that, right on the corner in Birmingham. So
yeah, we run into him at a civil rights event in Alabama. Who knew? It was wonderful. A bunch of protesters out there. It was really cool.
That is a great story.
A lot of
really
that goes on. My urology doctor says the same. I bought flowers and got married afterward. I don't know. It's interesting. We make people happy.
I think if I could say something in conclusion is that it's nice to be given some civic luster after all. Very much feel the love of our community, and I can't tell everybody, every single customer, thank you enough, because of your continued business with us has made us very full life, and we know we have some respect, and like I say, civic luster is kind of what I was hoping for in my lifetime. And gosh, I think we got it. I think we pulled it off. So thank you, everybody, all the wonderful customers, and over all these years. It's amazing.
Thank you for that. And that's a great note on which to end. Once again, I'm Autumn Labbe-Renault. I've been speaking today with Dean and Janice Labadie, who have run Strelitzia Flower Company for 50 years here in Davis. Visit their website, find out more about their open house and community celebration on October 24th, strelitziaflowers.com, and maybe we'll see you out there. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you.